Welcome to Beyond the Press Release, a production of Agoracom, in which we take the time to speak with company executives right after they put out important news. And with us today, needs no introduction. He's back. He's back with fantastic news. It's Peter Pascali, President and CEO of PyroGenesis, trades on both the NASDAQ and the TSX under PYR. And for our friends in Europe, we won't forget about you, especially our loyal German shareholders, 8PY. For those who are new to the story and continuously new blood coming into this because of the recent NASDAQ listing, because of the accumulation in a couple of the ARC ETFs, the company is essentially a world leader in the design, development, manufacture, and commercialization of advanced plasma processes and products. They've taken their plasma torch technology and created multiple global applications. One of them is 3D printing powders. Additive manufacturing as the official word. What a lot of people don't know is in the past, they were nominated Materials Company of the Year at the 3D Printing Industry Awards twice, 2 years in a row. I think it was 2018 and 2019. Today's press release, PyroGenesis announced the successful completion of additive manufacturing NexGen powder test runs. Commercial powder production begins. Peter, welcome back. Congratulations.
Thanks, George. Thanks for having me. Great to be here.
How big? I'm going to get into some details because you have, even though you do slow is smooth and smooth is fast, and you're trying to manage expectations, you've got some really important language of this. But before we get into that, how big is this from a company point of view?
It's the biggest. I mean, this is what we've been waiting for. This is what we want to do. This is what we've been promising. This is very big, George. We're where we want to be now. We've said we're taking our time. We're going to do it properly. And when we come out, it's going to be the best. And we have done it now. We are producing. We've gone through our tests. We've gone through our batch-to-batch consistency. People have been waiting for us. People that don't usually wait for people have been waiting for us. And we promised to come out, and here we are. I mean, we're coming out with a production line with some of the highest production rates that we know of. We keep on saying no one's challenged it. Lowered the cap cost, narrowed the particle size distribution. We're coming out with the best powder, we believe to be the best powders at the lowest cost. We can't say that we are producing powders and making profit under other people's cost, but we surely, that's our goal. That's our goal.
That's a pretty scary competitive advantage. And I know you tried to manage expectations with the slow is smooth is fast line, which is great, but I've got to dig into some of the language here where you're saying the company is now producing AM metal powders for clients.
Yeah.
And in the quote, Massimo says, "We believe it's only a matter of time given the major top tier aerospace companies and OEMs, original equipment manufacturers, are already awaiting powders from this new state-of-the-art production line."
Well, we've said that. We've said that that's what people are waiting. We've said people have been there. We've said people have qualified, gone through our qualifications and looked at our paperwork. They just wanted powders. Now they got powders. They're going through that phase. Look, I gotta be fair here. It doesn't guarantee revenues when people are qualifying your powders, but when people are spending hundreds of thousands of dollars to do it, you might think that they're doing it for a reason.
And that's your quote. You say, no, Massimo, the next step is to complete the qualification processes. So is that the qualification process? You're sending the powders to these top tier companies? Yeah.
So basically they have to put their powders through the steps that they put them through, but they're relatively confident that it's going to work, or else they wouldn't. I don't believe they do it. I mean, they have to have some relative confidence that, they look at it. So the next part is to qualify it.
How long typically is a qualification process? And I imagine it can't be very quick because it's a very big decision.
No, you're right. It's beyond imminent.
It's beyond, yeah, of course. Are you talking, my guestimate is, I have no clue, but just is maybe 3 to 6 months. Would that be accurate?
The thing is, what's the expression? You got to be on base. You got to be there to score. I mean, we're on base. I mean, you got to crawl before you ball.
Okay. Got that. But it's 3 to 6 months an accurate timeline to say that's how long Georgecom Aerospace would need to go through the qualification process just to?
I don't know. I mean, there's not 1,000 plasma companies out there who've gone through it, and there's a timeline. If they've been waiting, I'd suggest they'd be waiting, and not anxious, but they've been waiting, so they're eager to move forward. But we're here. I mean, whether it's here's what I ask people sometimes when they ask me about either iron ore pelletization or DROSRite, or back in the day when DROSRite was in it's in a little bit more in its development phase. What does it really matter if it's 6 weeks, 6 months, a year? I mean, we're there now in the game, and we are a major player in the sense of we invented plasma atomization to begin with. We coined the name in our patent, and it's a household name. We took an old technology and improved upon it 10 times over. We've got the attention of some of the best in the marketplace. Can they all be wrong? Maybe, but.
Why did they wait, Peter? It's not it. What was the reason they're waiting? How superior, how revolutionary is this product?
Well, look, it's a titanium powder. People make it. I think we make it. I think there's clear advantages to how we make it in that it's a narrow particle size distribution, so there's less waste. There's a higher production rate, so you can produce more per cost per unit per cost per time. So that is the interesting part of it, which is normal economics. What I really like is you take titanium, which is a very expensive powder, at one end, and then you go to steel at the other end, it's a cheap powder. To make steel economical through plasma atomization, you have to have production rates, to give you an example, probably around 200 kilograms an hour. What I'm trying to say is, as you increase the production rate, you start being able to consider other materials that you can process that could not be processed at lower production rates because it wouldn't be economical. So we're starting, once again, PyroGenesis, once again, opening the door to a family of other potential materials that can be processed. That's a sidebar. I mean, we can't keep on talking about what we could do with other things. We are extremely competitive with titanium. And why would they wait? I don't know why they wait. I mean, it's because we're good. It's because they want our powder, I think.
We should have Massimo Datilio on, because in his quote, he gives up more information than you. So I want to ask you about this. He says, once you complete the qualification process and secure long-term contracts, large long-term contracts, thereby providing PyroGenesis with recurring revenues for years to come, you must, if everything goes well, no hiccups, the clients like it, we get that. We know that we've got to temper the expectation that anything is possible. But as you said, you got some of the biggest companies in the world. In fact, on April 20th, an agreement with one of the world's largest aerospace companies for qualification of your additive manufacturing powders. Okay, Peter. So come on, we know you love to play, really, really slow, which is great, but you must have a sense for, if all goes well, and the likes of the company on April 20th and the kind of companies you're talking about here in this press release, how big of a market could this be for PyroGenesis for years to come?
Look, I don't want to speculate. I don't want to speculate, George, on that. First of all, I honestly don't know. I have a feeling, but I don't know enough to talk about it like that. What I do know is additive manufacturing, 3D printing is not going away.
It's getting bigger, right?
It's here to stay. It's here to stay.
Is it getting bigger, Peter?
I think it's getting bigger. I mean, I look back at, I think it was the late 1800s, where electricity, the car, and the telephone came on roughly at around the same time, and I think I've spoken about this before. And you look at 3D printing this day and age, amongst other things that are taking place, the electronic vehicle, AI. Those are three, I think, key game changers that are not going to go away. And so 3D printing is going to evolve, and we're going to evolve with it. And I believe not we're going to evolve with it. We're going to evolve and hopefully pull them with us. What I'm trying to say is we're going to do things better more economical, so we can actually grow the 3D printing industry, so they can do more things in the industry. And we've done it. We've proven it before. As I said, we developed plasma atomization for many years ago. So So 3D printing is here to stay. And I believe we're going to be at the cutting edge and leading that growth.
Well, saying that, I want to ask about one more excerpt because I read this press release really closely. This process enables PyroGenesis to process materials which, until today, did not seem economically feasible. Did
That's,
not seem economically feasible for you, PyroGenesis, or did not
oh,
seem economically feasible for the entire industry?
oh no, that's a mess. That's a mess in the no. It's for the industry. That's what I'm speaking to, George. The production rate. When we have developed a system that can produce things higher than faster than any, the production rate so fast, you now can think about other materials you can process. So as far as we know, nobody else can produce at these rates, which means nobody else can entertain the idea of you introducing other wires into the process that once could not be considered because it wasn't fast enough to make it economical, but now it is. So that's what I'm talking about in that particular line, not to PyroGenesis. No, to the industry.
Look, that's what I figured, but I just want to make sure of that. I didn't want to just assume that.
Yep.
Because if it's the industry, then Peter, process materials which until today did not seem economically feasible. The first thing that comes to mind is I think of Iron Man materials, literally. And I'm not trying to, make fun of this, but it seems like you're creating a wonder material here, and you've got global tier one aerospace companies and OEMs waiting for it.
Oh
you
no,
know?
these clients that we're talking about are waiting for traditional product, the traditional titaniums, the traditional things that people are making. What I described was something else, something blue sky, it's something we can look forward to. So that's that. I'm trying to put in perspective how huge this press release really is. Beyond that, we're just in production. I mean, no, the press release is now we're in production. We've done it's an important, but it's not a material press release, and from that sense. But what we've been saying all along is that these production rates are going to eventually change, we believe, the industry, because the industry will now contemplate additional wires, which means
Additional what? Wires?
Yeah, so wire, like a titanium wire, what happens, it comes,
Okay, got it.
okay, it comes down, you have torches impinge upon it, it becomes a small spherical metal powder. As you increase the production rate, you can now make it more cheaper. That's for titanium, which is cool for so in the titanium segment, okay, we can make it much cheaper than others, we believe, and a higher quality powder. That's titanium. But the additional benefit from increasing the production rate is now you can consider other wires where the traditional production rate was too slow for it to be done economically. So there's two elements I'm talking about. The existing market, which is titanium, Inconel, and et cetera, we can produce faster so we can make it more economical. But now we're opening up to a whole group of other family of wires that can now be considered as a feedstock.
How exciting is that to your potential customers, companies you've been talking to? How excited are they about that?
Well, that's not something that really, the ones that we've press released, the first tier aerospace company and the OEMs are we're speaking to with respect to the traditional powder offerings, titanium and things like that.
Last question for you.
Sure.
It's 3:47 as we're doing this interview, because you released this press release at 1:15 in the afternoon, which I strategically like. I think I know why you do these things sometimes. The turnaround in the capital market side is almost a 20% turnaround in the company's stock. So clearly the market sees this as very, very important. But having said that, there was some, call it a bit of a crisis of confidence, some weakness in the capital markets. How do you differentiate between what's going on in the capital markets and what's going on at PyroGenesis? Because I know you like to you don't necessarily worry too much about today. So my question to you is, how strongly is this position Pyro to become the company you've always wanted to become in the next 12, 24, 36, 48 months?
Look, we're very confident in who we are and what we're doing. The other people's press releases, the capital markets, they're, whether it goes up or down, it's not a distraction, but it has nothing to do with what we're doing, our strategy. Our strategy, as we say, is slow is smooth and smooth is fast. We're going to get to the destination faster by doing it properly and with thought. And it takes time to do it that way. Sometimes it takes a little bit more time. But we're not taking our eye off the goal, and the goalposts haven't moved. And we're getting there closer and closer and closer. The capital markets are what they are. You know, you can't start running a business based on day trading or capital markets, or you can't. So,
and that aside, so that's one part. How confident are you in what this is going to do for the future of PyroGenesis?
I'm phenomenally confident, George. I mean, this is why we do things. This is who and what we are. We can constantly do this. I mean, people questioned us many years ago. People questioned whether I really existed. It was my father or something, some stupid thing. It was like seriously about 15 years ago. Recently, about, was it a year ago, somebody said that we have no relationship with the U.S. Navy. The U.S. Navy contracts don't exist. They've all been canceled. And a couple of weeks later, we come up with there's always strange things that are happening. Okay, always strange. You can't react to those. I mean, we just keep on going. We know who we are. We know what we're doing. We do it with morally. We do it properly. And at the end of the day, if we see that for some reason there's not a market for what we're doing, we stop. That's the benefit. You know, there's a huge benefit. There's a huge benefit in running a company, and I hate to use this word overgo and overuse it, with the idea of creating a dynasty. There's a huge benefit, a huge weight comes off your shoulders, because you just do the right thing for the company. You do the right thing for the company all the time. You don't worry about the quarter or the press release or the this or the that. Yeah, this is the way it is. This is what we're doing. Nothing has changed. The market is there. Our advantage is there. We keep on going that way. That's just, it's a huge advantage to a company to have that kind of a perspective.
Safe to say that this is a pillar in the potential dynasty, a big pillar in the potential dynasty of PyroGenesis.
I said it earlier on that 2021 is going to be, everything else is going to go extremely well, like we predicted, or not predicted. We didn't ever predict it. That seems to be going on. There's no reason why dross rate and iron pelletization shortages are going to change. And they're going to continue moving along. 2021 is the year we said that 3D printing is going to start taking its rightful place on the stage. And look, we've had 3 press releases in 3 weeks.
More to come.
Well, there has to be, right? There has to be, if we're going to continue moving forward, there has to be. But yeah, so I said it before, George. I've said it. It's happened, and here it is.
Will you continue to let the market know about, look, on April 20th, you talk about signing the agreement with the tier 1 global aerospace company, the one of the world's largest aerospace companies. Will you continue to kind of let the market know about large organizations that go, okay, you're not going to let them know about GeorgeCom going through the qualification process, but will you continue to let us know, the market know about, and you're not going to disclose their names, but when you get these large qualification processes?
I will say, if something happens that we think is necessary, yes, we'll disclose it. I mean, when you look at our iron ore pelletization offering, we named company A, B, and C. You know, and why didn't we go D, E, F, G, A? You know, why don't we continue down the alphabet? Well, the idea is, well, company A, okay, that could be somebody who just has a peculiar situation, or maybe he's not thinking straight. Then you have company B, and you say, okay, you got company B. Maybe they're just a sheep and following company A. But when you have company A, B, and C, there's a certain level of credibility that comes with 3 independent companies doing the same thing with the same goal, with us, with the same client. So we mentioned 3 because it gives us some sort of additional credibility so people can tick off the boxes. D, E, and F, it just press releases that just keep on going on, and just it's a waste of time.
Becomes overkill.
We made the point. So the same thing is with respect to any of our offerings, and including this one, which is 3D printing. When you have a first-tier aerospace company lined up, and you have Aubert Duval on the other side of the ocean, what more is there to talk about? In terms of lining up potential? Well, we're going to talk about this other one and this other one and this other one and this other one. No. If we get along to a place where our powers get to a certain level where we realize this is a significant, yes, to help people, move along. But please don't email me where we are. What's the update on this today? It's been a week. No. We're not gonna. We got to get away from that silliness. The things that I have to press release is when things go south. When things go south, you have to press release it. Or there's something significant going north. You have to press release these things by law, and we do. So if we're not press releasing something, it definitely means it's not going south. I mean, so that's the. Here's something I did just to underscore this philosophy. In I think it was our year-end outlook, we mentioned that with respect to our torch tunneling project, that possibly the opportunity lies outside the contract. Okay? And that we're rethinking that particular contract and moving forward with it. Because it's what I said all the time when people ask me about HPQ. Does it make sense? Is it for real? Not for real. Is there potential? I said to people, if it doesn't make sense, we will not pursue it, even if we're making money on the contract, because at the end of the day, it doesn't make sense. Okay, so proof in the pudding is with respect to the tunneling contract, which we said, you know what? Maybe it's outside the contract, and maybe it doesn't make sense to pursue this contract. Maybe we'll do it outside the contract, and we'll all go our merry own way. But that particular contract to us at this particular time didn't make sense. So, so as soon as we have an inkling of this, I press release. I put in at the time it went into the outlook on the year-end outlook of all outlooks. So I'm very serious when I say, if there's something bad, we will press release it. If there's something materially good, we have to press release it as well. So that's.
Last words to you on this, then. What do you want shareholders to take away from today's very important news?
That when the strategic decision that management made to incorporate these particular improvements into the production line before we lock it down for a long-term contract is in place. I'm called the dream or the goal of getting here, which I have been explaining to people for the past 18 months, I think, we're here. This is very, very, very significant. It's very significant. It's extremely satisfying for the whole PyroGenesis team to actually be here with a production line, what we consider to be the most modern production line that we have, we've come together with. It's here, it's operating, and now we're going to the next phase, which is satisfying clients' orders for powders for qualification. Does that mean we're going to succeed? No, it doesn't. Does it mean we're going to have 100 tons of powders coming next week? No, it doesn't. What it means is we're on base, and as the expression is, you got to crawl before you ball. And that's where we are.
All right. Peter, thanks for joining us today.
For all their support throughout everything, I want to thank each and every one of you.
Thanks for joining us today, Peter. I know it's the middle of the day, and you must have a ton of calls, emails, meetings. So the fact that you take the time to speak to everybody like this.
I call my mom. She hasn't heard from me for a week.
Yeah, you and me both. And it's 357, and the stock's trading about 539. That's quite a turnaround from the 460-ish low that was in around just after the noon hour. So clearly the markets like what you've done.
Forget the markets, forget it. We just stick to our knitting and do what we do well all the time.
Yeah, and there's no doubt that's your winning formula. Thanks, Peter. Have a great day. Congratulations to you and the entire team on this great accomplishment.
Thanks. See you soon.
For everybody at home, you've been watching or you've been listening to my podcast on Spotify, Google, Apple, or your favorite podcast platform. To Peter Pascali, he's president and CEO of PyroGenesis Canada, trades both on the NASDAQ and the TSX on the stock symbol PYR. And for our friends in Europe, 8PY on Frankfurt. For those new to the story, get to the PyroGenesis Hub at Agoracom. Take a look at the profile page because as we talked about earlier, they essentially commercialized plasma torch applications on multiple levels around the planet. So we've got a great summary of them for you there. Then hop over to the PyroGenesis website to do your deep due diligence. Do it. You heard what Peter had to say. 3D printing is here to stay. It's here to grow. And that's just one of their many applications that you need to do your due diligence about. Have a great day. Thanks for joining us. See you next time.